And now we come to the segment technology. Thorsten is the president of that gang, doing the projects and actually quite good in all the hydrogen and other things, what we do there. Please, Thorsten.
Thank you, Thomas. First of all, welcome from the technologies team. My name is Thorsten Hoppe, Executive President Technologies, 3 years with the company, member of the GEM. So I'd like to re-anchor my presentation about 3 subjects. First of all, it's our financial aspiration. Second, it is our transformation process. And thirdly, I'd like to give you a couple of examples of the projects we are looking forward and how we want to really concentrate on. Let me start, first of all, with the growth targets. As Thomas rightfully said, we are not doing projects just for the purpose of projects. This needs to have a sense in the Bilfinger supply chain. That is for us extremely important, that our projects must end in a maintenance contract, or that through maintenance work with our existing clients, we get then a new project. Very important for us. We are in 2 verticals. We are in pharma, biopharma. We are also in the energy business. And in this, we are in specific customer groups. So it's nuclear, it's energy transition, it's pharma, biopharma. And therefore, we see a market growth of around 3%. And if we look then at the additional opportunities we see currently in these markets, it is another 3% self-propelled. So the 6% is a very controlled growth. We don't just want to grow uncontrolled. Secondly, if we look on the right side, the adjusted EBITDA, what you can see, we stabilized the group in recent years. So are we in the belief that the 3% are sufficient? No, absolutely not. We have to do some further homework, and this brings us then conservatively to an EBIT margin of 6 to 7%. How are we going to do that? First of all, the efficiency program is one element which is of importance for us. We, in the project business, we want in a very controlled and defined way bid for projects. And then secondly, we want to execute them in a very defined and standardized and controlled way. So the rest we can get out of the Bilfinger group in terms of shared service. The administration can go into shared service, and it can also be done by our colleagues in the regions. So therefore, for us, it's really a concentration on bidding and executing. Second thing is project excellence. We worked very hard from the Bilfinger perspective on the Bilfinger project concept. So the Bilfinger project concept gives us definitely in the area of operational excellence an upside. And then standardization of engineering work, very important for us. So we want really not to reinvent the wheel with every engineering work we are doing. It's standardized. And you have seen up on the gallery some examples. We really standardize and modularize continuous manufacturing, for example. So that gives us another 2%, 1 to 2%. And then positioning. We concentrate. We want to do repetitive projects in what we are doing. So therefore, positioning for us is very important as well. So conservatively, we think it is around 6 to 7% EBITDA margin. So let me go then into our market. Who of you would have thought that he thinks about energy costs when working in an office or when having employees in the fabrication? Who of you would have thought that he is ordering an electric car and it's not arriving, and after 1 year the contract gets cancelled because the car probably doesn't arrive in the next year either? Who of you has an ill child and doesn't get the drugs your child urgently needs? And these are all urgent questions, and they describe the environment we are in. It's about deglobalization, it's about energy costs, it's about climate change. And you see here a couple of key statements from our clients. We are in, as I mentioned, pharma, biopharma, and here it's blood plasma client, enhancing human life, or RWE. It's a very long client of us. We have really a very long history with them in conventional energy, in nuclear energy, and now they are going into hydrogen, so into green technologies. So that's another client of us, long-lasting. Then lithium batteries, another client, or EDF. There was this question earlier today, how is Hinkley Point doing? Hinkley Point, we have 3 contracts, or we have even more, but let's say 3 very big ones. And EDF is with Hinkley Point aiming really, or trying to get forward to net zero. And this is one of the projects in the British expansion program. It's 3,400 megawatt roughly. And in the UK, over the next couple of years, 24 gigawatt of nuclear power and then net zero type power will be built, either in the big plants like Hinkley Point. There's the next generation, which then is, and I think it's all public knowledge, Sizewell. There are further projects, and they're all coming up. And it's not only in the UK. In France, 6 have been decided to be built. And it's not only these 6, because we all know they need something to export, so there will be further plants, and we need to import that. So that's further. And all of that requires then also that there is a waste treatment, that there's a waste handling. And either it's directly per site, or it's at centers, at nuclear waste centers. We are in it. We have more than 50 years of experience in nuclear, in the nuclear industry. What I probably should also mention, that for the Hinkley Point project, we are meanwhile tier 1 supplier, which gives us then always the entrance into the next one. So therefore, I think it's really conservative, and we try to be very careful in terms of growth. So with 3% market growth, 3% self-propelled, 6% to be really conservative. Okay, let's talk about technologies today. First of all, very important, I spoke about transition. You see we are stabilized, quite important for us. Now on the upper, you see the value chain. In terms of value chain, we are currently in automation or digitalization, next step of it. We are from engineering, new build, to maintenance. What that means, originally we are very dominant, obviously, on the piping installation, but it needs work before and after. We are the ones who are doing the projects. We are 90% of our business, or 95 even of our business, is project business. And in terms of verticals, as I mentioned, from existing contracts, you see us very much in pharma and in energy. There's also there are some other places like chemical and oil and gas. So revenues, what you see on this slide here, we tried not to grow, and that's also what you heard earlier. When we go from 35% to 20%, we want to do that in a very controlled way. It's important, is really we want to do it in a very controlled way. There are so many projects in the market, but we try to do it very controlled, and that's what then goes also when we look further into the future. We will not just triple or whatever the number of projects we currently could get. That is not our ambition. So where do we want to be in the future? Here you see the value chain again, and that is very important. We want to just concentrate on engineering and on project execution, so the new builds. When it comes to the maintenance, my colleagues Jürgen or Christian, they have the the experience, they know exactly what they are doing, they are recognized for what they are doing, they take then over. So we will exit that part, we will really focus on the project. What is also important in terms of projects, and the project definition we all know is a very difficult one to get, we do not just throw in a fixed price to do a certain type of projects. No, that's not the way how we are working. We work through the various phases of engineering, and that through these phases of engineering, we can understand the risks, we can understand the pricing, and then at one point, when we went really down to a detailed engineering, then we say we execute the project. That is good for us, that is also good for the client, because if we would do it right at the beginning, we would have to say otherwise the price is rocket high. And through that process, we also get into a risk corridor and into a contingency corridor, which is really realistic. We understand the project before we really price it in. So we want to be the project company in Bilfinger, and doing 100% of the projects in the future, focusing really on nuclear, new energy or energy transition, and then on pharma and biopharma. And our clients, that's also very important, our clients, we want to do repetitive projects. We want to have the proximity to the clients, strategic clients, and they will guide us through their next investment. And we have a couple of very successful cases or clients in recent years where we really go almost in a standardized way from one project to the next one. In one case, even that we are building now the 4th time the same project of its kind. And that must be our ambition. We don't want to reinvent it every time something new. That's not what we are going for. All right, let's talk about the main levers, because we still know we have homework to do. And you see here a very busy slide, or the next 2 slides are very busy. I have one colleague who is always saying, if everything is important, nothing is important. For us, of main importance is really de-risking standardization. As I explained, and also Matti very well explained earlier in his presentation today. That is for us key. And that starts with the Bilfinger project concept that goes on with repetitive projects, and also the way how we review that with KPIs and how we follow a project. The second thing I'd like to mention on this slide is the competency, or the competence development. We need young engineers, we need people executing the work on site. We have our own training center for welders, and for Hinkley Point, for example, 8% of the people who are coming to us get finally the certificate from us for welding. So we need hundreds of welders, for example, for Hinkley Point. You understand, we have a huge, let's say, training center where we develop our people. That is on the execution side. When it comes to white-collar people, for them it's really important what are they doing, on what type of projects are they. And we believe, on one hand, that with the energy transition projects we are in and continuing and even focusing more, that is something where people can work on having an impact on the footprint. On the other hand, on the other side, when it comes to pharma, biopharma, it really has an impact on the well-being of people. So what we did in recent years, we did some networking exercise. We really looked how can we upgrade our talent management, how can we take a young engineer with us, developing him forward, either in the project side or also in the when it comes to engineering, from young engineer to senior engineer. These are programs we are taking a lot of care. Then also in terms of leadership or In general, talent development, we have a clear talent development pipeline and plan how we bring people not only just in a vertical way, but that they understand Bilfinger and that they then can add really value to the organization. Quite important for us. Then in terms of digitalization and innovation, we have one business, a larger business, hundreds of young engineers. They are doing automation. So for us, it's quite important that in everything we are doing, we add the automation component. As you saw upstairs in continuous manufacturing, more than 170 connection points in automation to introduce continuous flow. So we try to bring this very close to whatever we are doing, whether it's in a hydrogen project, whether it's a pharma project, whether it's in a nuclear project. Really important for us to bring further intelligence into what we are doing. In terms of market expansion, first of all, obviously, I think in the meantime, I explained it. We look really to follow our clients where they are going with repetitive projects. I have a couple of nice examples there recently. Went, for example, to US. On the other hand, it's repetitive process. It's a repetitive project. It is also that we want to be and we develop even further as a solution partner. We also bundle whatever we have in Bilfinger. So it is not that we then as an, let's say, segment are going out with a certain type of approach to the market. We can add scaffolding, we can add isolation, piping, sometimes also mechanical work in the regions wherever we are operating in. So we try to add this. And then we obviously want to grow in the energy transition, or what Thomas described earlier as green energy. That is for us where we want to be in the future. And then sustainability, having a CO2 impact, quite important for us. And that drives really the type of projects we are doing. It's either hydrogen, it's carbon capture, it's biofuel. This is really the space we are in and nothing else. We are not trying anything else. And then nuclear, I described already, also important for us, will be important for us, will be an anchor for us. So I'd like to give you now a couple of examples. And I could speak now about hepatitis production, where we deliver process skids. I could speak about insulin, where we deliver skids, or also everything in blood plasma. I think what is important for us here today to see with our standardized skid production in pharma, biopharma, what else can we do? We are in extremely specialized food, very close to pharma, biopharma, and we are working non-stop with expert groups to see what can we do with this experience we have in engineering, and we have also in skid manufacturing. And here's one example, and it's really an example which has a solid CO2 impact. This is vegan cheese. So or cheese for vegans. What we are really doing here, or we developed with expert groups, a process very similar to what you saw up with the reactor and the continuous manufacturing. We are now in the process of final design, going into a first pilot plant, ramping it up to a demo plant, and then finally the full plant. And what this example describes so well is, first of all, standardization makes it possible to reduce time and costs and risks when going into something. Secondly, is also that these vegan production or vegan cheese production really delivers a bottom line impact on CO2. In this case, And Thomas really sometimes is laughing about it. 600 cows for one reactor, okay? That replaces 600 cows for one reactor. Think about it when we are really going with that into the 10s or 20s or 50s type of reactor. And we want to do repetitive work, so it's also an example for repetitive work we are doing. Second, biofuel. We also, where we went with a client from the various engineering phases into a first little plant, and then now here's a bigger demo plant. It's in Norway. Norway, whoever was there in recent time, this is really the country with many electrical cars. What is the challenge in Norway? The trucks are still going with diesel. What is another challenge is that wood volume is constantly increasing because previous applications for wood, they don't work any longer. So over years, in a partnership, what we developed is out of cellulose to produce diesel. And this plant we just finished, it's running, it's working, also in bigger scale, is really producing biodiesel. And now it gets really interesting because now it's going into full plants, which will be immediately at various sites in Scandinavia. Strong impact, the way how we designed it and how we fabricated it. We have one fabrication site, a larger fabrication site, where we really look for continuous manufacturing and how we can reduce lead time and how we can make it more efficient. So that is on one side the impact. On the other hand, obviously, what you can imagine, biodiesel, huge impact on diesel engines. And then third example, showing you what we are able as the Bilfinger team to deliver. This is with our long-term client RWE, the H2 production in Eemshaven. We won this project. We have certain expertise, solid expertise in gas treatment, and obviously with our balance of plant capabilities as a system integrator, we won with the technology provider that plant. It would not work out if we then try to every time develop the full technology. We don't want to take this type of risks. That's not our business. But here as a system integrator, with our expertise in this market, we won the first project. After quite a good series of engineering work. And what we will do here over the next period of time is to be very careful in choosing our technology providers. There will be some for the smaller scale modules and some for the larger scale modules. And with them together, we are working on this huge need for H2, which then goes either in hydrogen pipelines or what will be used then even for steel production in the future. We are in it. So therefore, let me conclude and recap. I think we are in the right markets and we are very selective markets. We know the homework we have to continue to do. We are only doing projects if they make sense in terms of the value chain. And then the first element is that it's all about our EBITDA margin, and conservatively, we are certain we can get to the 6 to 7% area soon. So thank you. With that, I'd like to give back to Bettina.